Oh man. Now this right here is probably going to be one of the craziest stories that you will ever hear. And this right here is why moral relativism is bad and why it is important to have a reliable and static moral compass and moral code. Just listen to this.
Consensually, and they agree to use the proper protection, not conceive a child. What reason can you give me that that's wrong? Besides just saying it's icky or weird. Yeah.
For context, he's talking about incest. For those of you who are like working or something who aren't watching the stream,
you guys will just say it's icky. It's incest. Yeah, but what is bad about it? Assuming they can't have children, and assuming there was no power dynamic growing up, even if they're blood related, it's the same blood. Why is that? That's not a moral argument, though. You know what I mean? It's literally illegal. So it being illegal makes it morally bad. There have been many things in human history that have been illegal that I don't think we could argue are morally bad. Someone said it's fucking.
This is awful. This is embarrassing. This guy is running around here saying, "Oh, well, how do we know that incest is bad, right? Like, what if they can't have children? What if their genes are all fine and dandy?" And to be fair, I'm going to give more context to his comments right here because I think that it's important to understand what exactly he was saying in context. So I am going to show you a couple more clips before I explain, why, even those comments are actually somewhat legitimate to a degree, the danger of the line of thinking that he and most people are in.
For what it's worth, and I know some people might call cap on this, I think incest is bad. Call me crazy. I actually do think it's bad.
So this is one thing that's been missing from a lot of the coverage of his, of his remarks here. So,
and I can go into the argumentation for why it's bad. And the argumentation that I didn't hear from Chad, because the actual problem with this, even if you remove, say, likelihood of having a kid, or you remove any power dynamics, the idea is that, well, if you normalize some behavior like that it doesn't account for all the other people that won't engage in, whatever the 0.1% of the safe version of said bizarre hypothetical situation is, and then it normalizes the behavior, and then it actually becomes much worse. Yada, yada, yada. There's good arguments against it.
Wait.
The actual problem with this, even if you remove, say,
okay, so we're saying that that's not the reason,
kid, or you remove any power dynamics, the idea is that, well, if you normalize some behavior like that it doesn't account for all the other people that won't engage in, whatever the 0.1% of the safe version of said bizarre hypothetical situation is, and then it normalizes the behavior, and then it actually becomes much worse. Yada, yada, yada. There's good arguments against it. But man, maybe we should think a little bit more critically about stuff if we're just like out here saying you should kill someone. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support violence or calls to violence, but I do think it's kind of funny that the responses are like, Thanos was right. Modern problems require modern solutions. Kill him. No, that's not a modern solution for this problem. The modern solution for this problem is critical thinking. But not just that. Oh, and also, hold on. But not just that. It's having an actual static moral compass. Here's one more clip before I go into my arguments for why this is bad.
Okay, so since there are a lot of people in here and you guys want to know the actual take, the premise of something like this is to get people to constructively think about the morality of certain things. So when you remove certain parameters, be like, can you actually argue why morally this is bad or not? And this also comes in the context of a class that I've taken, as well as what I studied at the University of Chicago, which is social neuroscience. And there's certain things that people fundamentally don't like that we can't really explain, that comes from millions of years of evolution of our biology basically telling us not to do certain things, not to sleep with our siblings because of genetic defects, etc., not to kill each other because we're a social species, etc. It's a whole thought experiment that you go down. It's not that deep.
Now, You might be wondering why I'm reacting to this drama that happened in June 30th of 2023, when we are months and months away from when this happened. Well, it's because I thought that this is something that's very important to react to. The majority of people who were reacting to this drama were saying, oh, how awful it is that Blau is defending incest because incest is icky and gross. The problem is a lot of the people who were reacting to this were kind of playing into Blau's point, which is a lot of people have these positions. They don't necessarily think into why it is that they have them. Now, he does point out that we do instinctively think that certain things are bad, just naturally. And so I think there is a natural response for people to be like, ew, that's icky. And, the Bible does say that the law of God is written on our hearts. But this is where it is helpful to not be a moral relativist, to not just go with the winds and be like, oh, I'll just say whatever is okay. Whatever feels good is okay, right? If it feels good, it must be okay. If it makes me happy, it must be okay. If it makes other people happy, it must be okay. No, not necessarily. You have to pick a moral code that is static because your feelings will change. One day, you might not feel like killing someone. And the next day, you might feel like killing someone. That's no moral code. That's just you doing whatever you want to do, which I guess some could say is actually a moral code. But it's far better to have rules, do's and don'ts. Like, this is what I believe is good, and this is what I believe is bad. And this is something that will never change. This is one of the luxuries that I get with being a Christian, because in the scriptures, good and evil, right and wrong, those are things that are all static. Those are all things that don't change. So if you want to know if something is good, want to know if something is bad, look into the scriptures. If the scriptures doesn't mention it specifically, look into principles that are connected to that thing, right? If we, for example, when it comes to this topic, is this good or bad? Is this something that's okay, or is this something that's not okay? Well, Deuteronomy 27:22 tells us, cursed is the one who lies with his sister, the daughter of his father, or the daughter of his mother. And all the people shall say, amen. Even nowadays, all the people say amen. But a lot of people don't understand why. Well, the reason is that the law of God is written on our hearts. And I think that there are a lot of things that people instinctively believe are right or believe that they're wrong. That's just because that's the way God made us. It's the way that God wired us. Now, there might be some things that, America as a society, we try to tampen down because, and the scriptures do say, right, that like people are prone to, suppress the truth in their hearts, but the truth is still in our hearts, right? So whenever like people ask you, is it okay to do this or not, right? Think about why you believe what you believe. If you think something's wrong, why do you think something's wrong? You think stealing is bad? Why? Explain it. What's your source? What's your basis? What is your source for your moral ethics and your moral code? If you just think if your position is just, I think it's bad because it makes me feel bad, then you should re-examine your moral code and your ethics system, because that's no ethics system at all.